Montgomery. And who knows? Maybe this is a team. Maybe they can make a deal at the deadline. But you kind of got to trade prospects to do that, and they kind of already traded most of everything,
basically.
So yeah. There you go.
So let's get into the hitting.
The hitting. So the hitting's a lot better than the pitching.
Definitely.
I guess on actual numbers, on stat wise.
Top it off. You have 3 guys projected to be over 4 WAR. Chris Bryant projected 5 WAR, Rizzo and Baez 4.1. Like, you have 3 studs on that team.
Yep,
for sure.
I mean, the names are still there. You got Rizzo, you got Baez. Baez had a ridiculous year last year. 34 home runs, 4
Talk about a free swinger.
Yeah, right. He only walked 29 times. Had more home runs than walks. But so Baez, we'll see if he can repeat that kind of year. But Rizzo, Baez, Bryant's back. He was injured last year. But then you got, the outfield. I mean, Schwarber, what's he going to be like? He had 26 home runs last year.
Offensively, good.
Yeah, Almora.
Defensively.
I mean, Almora's done nothing with the bat to this point. He's still young. Jason Hayward, who they're paying a ton to, and hasn't really been good offensively. They got Ian Happ, which Ian Happ's like up and down. Like, he looks like he's gonna. I don't even know if he has like a starting job at this point. I mean, he can kind of bounce around, but yeah, he's there. Mm-hmm. David Bodie is your depth, and I don't know. So the outfield's going to be interesting, but I mean, look, you got Bryant, Baez, and Rizzo. I mean, that's a good start.
Yeah, and Addison Russell. I mean, he's not going to be there obviously at the beginning of the season. I don't truly know how they're going to work him in. Baez seems like he's going to cover short, and they have Zobrist at second. Now, Zobrist had a really good year last year too, but that's another guy we're talking about. Age. Like, is this the year that he falls off? It's going to happen sometime. And then, like, with Wilson Contreras, does he have a nice bounce-back season? This team, it's going to be good. It certainly is. The offense is really nice.
Baseball Prospectus says it won't be. What do you think about? All right, what do you think about? Because look, Addison Russell, 657 OPS last year. He's apparently going to be at short again, right? I mean, there's nobody else.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the Cubs are going to play him. Like, once he's not back from the suspension, he's a Cub. And
then what do you think about Wilson Contreras? Because Contreras was another going to be like the big offensive catcher, and he's been okay. He just hasn't. I mean, 730 OPS just hasn't been like kind of taking that step forward that I think the Cubs thought he would have by now.
Yeah, well, that's why I said like a bounce back. I mean, his first 2 years, WRC plus 126, 122, and then 100. So I mean, he was league average last year. And as a catcher, I mean, of course, that's not terrible,
right?
Especially when you have good defense. But that's what we're getting at. Like, I'm sure the Cubs want to see more of the 126 and a lot less of the 100. So because he's had a good bat. He's 12, 21 home runs, and then last year to 10. So. And, of course, those 12 were in 283. Let's put it this way. His slugging. His slugging went from 48, 499 to 390. So, yes, like, does he bounce back? I put stock in it. I believe he probably will. He's young enough. He's good enough. And I'm sure that's what the Cubs want. So again, like, when it comes to the bats, they have plenty of them. Like, there's definitely depth there. You talk about Ian Happ. He doesn't have a spot. He could flourish. Like, this could be the year where he puts it together. And he's becomes what he was, like, that top prospect. He becomes solid. And so maybe he's sliding in there. But anyways, the offense is certainly there. As you mentioned, the bullpen, like, it's not top heavy. It's not like they have a dominant bullpen, but they do have a lot of depth. But that rotation, man, like, you and I think it's clear, like, this rotation is going to make it or break it.
Mm-hmm. And they're broke. They can't add any money.
And they're broke. And they don't have they're money broke and they're prospect broke. So, like, they can't acquire anything through any means.
Right. That's what I mean. So, like, everyone's like, oh, it's the Cubs. They'll go out and get somebody. Well, how? Right. It's like, you can't really pay anybody unless you get somebody on a cheaper deal.
They're showing up to they're showing up to Sheets with a bunch of yen. And Sheets is saying, no deal. We're not going to give you anything here.
And they don't really have the prospects to, like, pull something like major off. So anything they really do would kind of have to be like their off season. Like, very quiet, like very small deal.
Well, actually, much like the Hamels deal.
Right.
Which did turn out good for them, but that's what they're doing. They have to go and get a guy who they feel they can turn around. It's not going to be a big name because they don't have the ammunition to give up to get a big name or a solid piece like that. So,
all right. So I know we're not doing our wins and losses over unders yet. We'll save that for the last podcast before the season. But at this point, Brewers, they won the division last year. Is in your eyes is the Cubs? Are they the team to beat? Are they still the top team in the NL Central?
I don't. That's so hard to say. That's so hard to say because the teams in the NL are good. Pretty much all of them are good, and they all have their flaws. It just depends on which flaws get exposed. Because much like the Cubs, it's the same with the Brewers. It's their rotation's very skeptic. Now, I'm not saying that it's a risk. You pretty much know what they are. That's the difference, and it's not good. The Cubs have the potential to be good, but I think the Cubs have the potential to be even worse than the Brewers, rotation. And both have nice offenses. It's tough, man. I don't know.
I'd say
flip a coin. Do you
flip
almost?
I feel like
it's the Cardinals.
Well, that'll be our team next week. We'll talk about. But
yeah,
I feel like right now, the Cubs are better than the Brewers in my eyes, and I think you feel that way too. So to me, I think the Cubs are still tops in the NL Central, but like you said, this could be a division where everybody's kind of bouncing around in the same kind of vicinity. But I don't know, the Cubs don't that pitching the depth. I just
listen to this. It's I feel like we work for Baseball America and we're ranking the NL Central as prospects, and it's the Cubs are that high ceiling, right, but high risk prospect,
Yep.
And it's almost the same with the Brewers. It's just a little bit different. Maybe one has a little more power, one has a little more speed. And then when we look at the Cardinals, it's okay, well, this doesn't have the highest ceiling, but it's got a really high floor. So it's which one do you rank higher? That's how I feel we are right now with the NL Central. It's ranking, these prospects because there's definitely flaws. They're definitely different teams. That's how I feel I think the Cardinals are the safest team in this division. But they don't have that ceiling.
Yeah.
The Cubs have that ceiling, and the Brewers do to that degree too. So yeah, I think the Cubs certainly have the highest ceiling in all of the NL Central.
Look, and I love a lot of people who are the Pirates come into this season and every year, and it's well, this guy has to do good, this guy has to be great, this guy has to break out, we need this, if right. So I've been listening to Effectively Wild all off season. They starting to do their preview podcast where they bring on a writer or beat writer or something from every team, and they do 2 an episode. And every team I'm hearing, even the Braves, the Braves have so many question marks. Is Voltekevich going to come out and have the year he did? Is that young
Swanson,
pitching going to come out?
Is he going to be
and
healthy
flourish?
finally this year?
Is Swanson going to figure out how to hit the ball? Is Donaldson going to not be injured? Is they have so many ifs, and they're the Braves. People are talking about them they're in the wild card, definitely a playoff team. The Cubs, the Brewers, I'm hearing all these teams that are doing these podcasts, and these aren't from just the host. These are from beat writers that cover the team, and it's all these teams have question marks. That this team could win 90 if this, and this happens. So it's every team in baseball that has it.
It's very rare to look at a team and be you can lock them in. Any team that goes to the World Series, it's usually because they were talented, but also things went right.
Right.
It's hard.
There's a couple teams. Obviously,
to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, obviously there's the Red Sox, the Yankees,
Tampa Bay
the
Rays.
Astros, the
It
Dodgers.
is hard to get into the playoffs.
We know those teams are there, but still a lot of stuff has to go right for every team.
Yeah.
And there's teams are banking on performances last year off of, a half season that somebody was good that never did it before. I mean, Mac freaking Muncy. I mean, look at the Dodgers. So, like, a lot of teams are betting off that. Now, other teams have more depth than other teams, but so just, as a whole, can bring it back to the Pirates. Like, the Pirates would be good if Archer and Tyone kill it.
Right.
But in Bell,
Cubs would be good too if Lester and Darvish
right.
dominate.
If the Cubs 4 to the 5 starting rotation pitchers are pretty good, the Cubs are probably going to be good. They're probably going to win over 90 games. So, it's just every team has that, and as we're kind of showing on these preview podcasts. But, next week we'll jump into the hated Cardinals.
Oh, son of a bitch!
Definitely. All right. I'm excited. And we'll top it off. This upcoming weekend, we'll be back down on Bradenton again, Friday, Saturday.
My goodness. You're there
Sundays,
more than Hank.
Hey, man.
By the way, you going to meet up with Hank?
I still have to reach out to him again. I'll do it this weekend.
He's got to be there.
I'll do it now. But, no, actually,
Hank,
I know there's going to be quite a few people down
out
there. I know some of the Renegades of the attendant will be down there, so it's going to be a good time. And St. Patrick's Day. So it's going to be fun.
Don't rub it in.
No, I am. You're an asshole.
Have a Guinness for me.
I'll have multiple of them for you.
There you go.
Mainly for me.
Do you want to maybe talk about the live podcast, since considering we tweeted it out?
Oh, yeah. Let's do real quick, too. I guess as you like to call our housekeeping. June 1st. It's official. June 1st, we're going to have our NS9 live podcast again. We're going to go back into the parking lot. We're going to tailgate again. We were at the Foundry last year inside. It was cool. I liked it. But we're going to bring it back outdoors again.
That's right.
So
it's
June
summertime.
1st.
We're going to bring it out.
Yeah, it's summer. It's hopefully not going to be snowing. So June 1st, you never know, right? Anyways, it's Chris Archer. I want to say Bubblehead Night, but Ryan, as we saw, it's not even a night game. It's a 4:05 game. That's why it's going to be earlier.
Bobblehead late afternoon or early evening.
There you go. So what do we say, 12 o'clock? Or is it 1?
I think you put 1, but
1 o'clock?
yeah, I mean, the game starts at 4.
We'll
so
probably
we'll
be there at like 12 something anyways.
We'll be drunk by 1.
Exactly. So yeah, come out. It's going to be fun. Come out. I would say your friends.
Yeah, I would say circle June 1st on your calendar, but nobody does that anymore because nobody has calendars up. So go to your calendar on your phone, go to
Give
June
yourself
1st,
a reminder.
put it in. A reminder, NS9 live podcast, June 1st. It's going to be, as the kids say, lit.
Yep. And as always, there'll definitely be some giveaways.
Ooh, giveaways. Yeah, so there we go. We'll be talking about it a lot, I'm sure, coming up. But it'll be warmer than our one last year.
You realize that?
You and Get It.
You should be medicated.
Right. And again, I just pray it does not snow.
I think
I'm fearful. Like it's crazy. I'm like June 1st. Is that like late enough? I feel like you gotta wait till like the end of June. Hey, listen, you're talking about the guy who I got married in the middle of June 16th, Ryan. And the night before, I was outside, right, out at night, and my parents had a fire going, and I had a jacket on. So I get worried about June still. It's crazy. Anyways, let's get out of here.
We'll be okay. Let's shut it down.
All right. So we'll be back next week. Ryan and I, fresh off my St. Patty's Bradenton trip. Ryan will be fresh off of living in Newcastle trip. So there's that. So we'll catch y'all next week. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Can't wait.
Peace.